What's up, guys? Sorry it took me a second to start. How you guys doing? I'm gonna take a shower, but then I'll be back. Well, I'm Clutchy. See you soon. What up, Shocks? How you doing, man? Thanks to this stream, you're now using VIA. Oh, nice. Yeah, super easy, right? Using the long taps and stuff like that, those are actually a little bit more confusing, I'd say. Tuesday night, what? We're still gonna do a Wednesday night stream, no KV. I had a customer who needed a board done really soon, so the only way for me to do that is to increase the number of builds I do, because I plan my stuff out so that I have, like, I try and keep my queue to a month or less, and then as I take orders, like, it backs up, right? And I only stream 8 times a month, so that means I only get to build 8 boards a month. So if too many show up before, or more than that show up, then, well, I had streams. Or I guess I could do a build off stream, but most people want it to be streamed, so. And I do too. I don't want to do builds that aren't making content for everybody else to see. I don't know. That's kind of what I'm here for. So, that being said, what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be rebuilding this LZ CLSn. Yay! Yay! An awesome board. It's got tangerines, C3 tangerines in it right now. The mods actually sound really, it all sounds good. The mods sound great. So we're not even going to disassemble the whole board. We're going to leave the C3 tangerines in the mod positions, and we're going to take everything else out and replace it with Zilents. And if you guys want to know why, it's probably something like this versus this. I understand. Sounds a little high pitched in the middle. So yeah, that's what we're gonna do. Again, this was kind of a more of a short notice thing, so I'm still lubing switches. I have half of them complete. I've lubed all of the stems and stuff because I tub lube. It's funny because I put this down and I was like, it blends too well for the camera to really, I think, capture for all of you guys. So I used one of my older lube station dealers for the rest of the ones that we'll be building. It does look nice. It does look nice, and in person it looks great. I think it's a little, the contrast is a little low though for the cam. Well, it turns out this lube station is freaking awesome. Awesome guy Lego, thank you for that new follow, man. Yeah, this one's super good. 3D printed. It's fantastic. This other one that we're using though, this one is acrylic, and I will show you now. I'm using this guy. So this one I think is a little bit easier for you guys to see kind of what's going on. So I'm a fan of tub lubing. So here's the remaining tub of springs and the remaining tub of stems, and the you know, the, get out of here, and the switch tops. So yeah, it's gonna be good. Tunvan, how you doing, man, or woman? How you doing? Hopefully it's going really well for you. It's a good evening here. We will. So I tub lube, right? You guys are familiar with that if you've ever watched my content before. I'm a big fan of tub lubing, mostly because I'm a big fan of not wasting time, and I feel like painting it on with a brush. If it's cathartic to you, if you like doing it that way, then, you know, you keep doing you. But if it sounds like a chore, if it feels like a chore, then tub lube, because the results are, as long as what you want is a consistent lube job, the results are better. IMO. But if you don't necessarily want consistency, then I'll concede that you might be able to get an ever so unnoticeably slightly better job. Possible. I've heard the argument made. I don't know. I like tub lubing. It works out well. What about you guys? Any of you guys prefer one method over another? And I use grease, by the way, on my springs, not oil. And why don't I show you guys? I didn't really want to switch to that view, but we're there now. So I don't know if you guys can see the little tiny bit of lube all kind of coating the spring. You can if you look really close. That's kind of where we go. Kind of where we go with it. Microvision. That was the full screen microvision. Usually we go for small screen microvision, so it doesn't make people nauseous as the whole screen moves. You prefer Josh to lube your switches for you? Well, I only lube switches, generally speaking, for people that are having me build an entire board for them. I don't offer just strict lube services because I don't have time for it. It takes a lot. It takes a lot. But that's okay. I've built a board for you before. Or I guess we built a board together on my stream. That's the best way to say it, I think. Mini microvision. Nice. TSC coming through with all the new nicknames for all the new things. Although I think mini microvision has been there a while. There we go. Hey, Shimply, thank you so much for that follow. I really appreciate that. Any of you guys who aren't already, go ahead and consider clicking that button up there. Hey, how you doing? How you doing, man? What can you say? You have a talent for naming things, apparently. Camping set looks amazing. Thank you so much. I love camping. Camping on silver is good. Camping on white, I think, is better. On an e-whiteboard. So far, my favorite way to see camping. So far. Boom, boom. So I will say the one downside to tub lubing springs, especially, though all the things, is that you use considerably more lube to get the job done than you would if you were using a brush. It is more wasteful of the lube itself. Because you get the lube everywhere, and you don't need it everywhere. Just like with switches, for instance, you get it all over the stems, but you don't need it on the stems. It just doesn't hurt anything, so I still do it that way. Yeah, just my thoughts on it, though. If you guys feel different, phone in. Or, type in, whatever. Toon Von, you're ordering HKB, I'm guessing. I can't decide whether to buy the black or yellow case. Black is more universal in general. So usually that. However, I will say, you can only have so many boards that are like the same, right? So I have a couple silver boards, a couple red boards, an e-white board, a purple board, whatever. I don't know. Most of my boards are relatively benign colors. And I have, when Space 65 Cyber Voyager came out, right, recently, for GB, I bought the Schrodinger box. Because I was like, whatever, man. If I build a shadow box or whatever to display boards, I don't want them all to just look basically like the same color. And I mean, there's wild sets out there. So you know what? Have at. Why don't you go ahead and just give me whatever wild color you can come up with. So that's what we did. There are neutral sets, keycap sets that go with everything, like white on black, for instance, that, you know, how are you going to do it wrong? But you can reuse the lube container for other lube jobs. Yeah, so the lube that like coats the inside of this container, that gets reused. The container gets reused, sealed and then reused. So it's not like everything that's coating the inside of the container is a waste. But what leaves the container and goes onto the switches themselves, whether it be the springs or the stems, you're never getting that back. And you only need some of it on there, not all of it. Not all of it. Aww. Boom. So this is actually not going to take that long, because all we need to do is the same thing for the stems. I mean, we haven't actually, yeah, this is taking like 10 minutes, so it's going to take another 10-ish. Might even take less, because the springs stick together a lot more than the stems. I guess we'll see, though. Visionaire, what's up, man? How you doing? It's good to see you on here, actually. This is reminding me I need to go to your spreadsheet and edit, because I submitted like way back in the beginning when the submission could only be like this big, and I need to make it more. Flasian, what's up, man? Hola. Yar. Okay. I wish there was like a tool that instantly got the stem into the correct orientation. I mean, I guess if I only had so many wishes, I would not waste one on that. But, you know, if it's unlimited, then I want a tool that does that. That picks them up and gets them in the right orientation. Sam91. Hey, thanks for that follow. I appreciate that, man. I really, really do. I really, really do. How are you guys enjoying the stream? Looks like there's a bunch of you on a Tuesday night. What have you guys been up to? Hopefully work, or relax, or, you know, something that you enjoy. How did your guys' day go? Man, it's little. Yeah. Oh, avoiding the Rona. Yeah, no joke. No joke. Flasian worked all day, and today eating tacos. Oh, yeah. Is Cinco de Mayo the day that you make sure you get tacos, or something? Or do you just like tacos and wanted to eat some today? Happy Cinco de Mayo to those of you who are into Cinco de Mayo. Still working on that. Yeah, that's all good, Visionaire. We'll get there. We'll get there. Oh, I'm gonna go to it. Wrecked. 1800. Nice. Like, these people are pledging things in. Man, I'll build something. Hit me up. I think you guys know that, though. No, I'm definitely interested still. This is definitely a good cause, and I have nothing but love for what you're trying to do. Everybody should follow his link. Check out what it is. And then watch it. Give your support. Donate. You know the jam. If you can. Still working on the website itself to get the information up. It's okay. You get a little bit of time now. I mean, we were Visionaire is awesome, and I'm really happy that he wants to do this thing. And getting streamers together, keep streamers, to do this kind of content, to do a little stream like that is actually pretty good. I wish we had more people in the community that wanted to organize stuff that we can all take advantage of. I think, like, I always want to watch other people's cool content, and when creators get together to do content for causes, usually the content is really, really good. Especially if people are donating to the cause and making, in our case, adding stuff that adds value. May have something you could use your help with depending on your schedule. Hit me up. I mean, time is always at a premium, right? But yeah, if I can, I will. I think you know that. I hope. I'm not always the best at paying attention to what's going on in Discord channels, especially if they get real pingy. I just kind of disable pings, which is unfortunate. But my direct message pings always pretty much work. Like, if you actually DM me, I will get messages. And I check that fairly frequently. I know, man. I know. And, you know, a lot of people are... I'm lucky, actually. I'm lucky that I'm still fairly busy, right? Like, I have not been... I shouldn't say that I haven't been negatively impacted by the Rona. Everyone's been negatively impacted by the Rona. But I haven't been as unfortunate as some. And if I did have it, I never got really sick. So there's that. Yeah, I generally don't do any lubing on my stream at all. Jago. Yeah, Jago. Waiwego? Waiwego? What up, man? Yeah, I don't normally do that. You know what? Hey, Visionaire, could you send Tiny Shiny Crumb a copy of that link, or TSC, could you take down a copy of that link? I think it's worth us building a command for it for the stream as that approaches. Man, I'm behind. I have a backlog of things I need to make commands for, but that would be a good one. You know, things that need to be supported, that we can shout out and, you know, just be like, boom, here's the thing, go to this link. I'd appreciate it. Thank you. Because that's a thing that I definitely want to support. Yeah, so like I was saying, I don't really lube anything on my stream very much because I think it's relatively boring. The most boring part of keyboards. And I think a lot of other people do too. I do sometimes try and do it a little bit just so that there's technique shown, so that everybody kind of understands what's how it's done. Unfortunately, we started much later in the process here than that. Unfortunate and fortunate. But yeah, so basically we put the springs in, we put the stems in, now I put the top on, and all we do when you have a nice board like this that has the top removal cutouts is you just snap them down in. For a long time I did board builds here on this stream, and I did some lubing without those, and let me tell you, it was just squares. So what I had to do is lift the whole thing up and push up on the bottom of the switch a little bit as I pushed the top down, so that they would snap together, and then I could push it back down all the way. It was silly. Don't do it that way. Just buy a decent lube station, or 3D print one if you've got the means to do that. The thing that Sean that Shock's printed for me is freaking awesome. Freaking awesome. I love it. Works super well. He does. Absolutely. Oh, and by the way, Visionaire, if you're still in, you can ping me while I'm streaming on my Discord. I mean, I may not see it right now, but you know, it'll be there. I don't know if Shocks makes those or is planning on ever making those to sell, though I'm sure you could ask him at least where he got the models, because I'm fairly certain they're freely available models. I don't know if he's still listening at the moment, or is listening at the moment, but feel free to post a link if it's not an unreasonable request. Yet one more thing we could make a command for. When people were like, what's up with that lube station? Or lube stations are great. We could just be like, lube station. I think mine is made out of ABS. Right? Shocks? I will say the other material you and I were discussing recently, that would be an interesting material to make that out of, because these ones do flex a little bit in the middle. Like, it's not a big deal. It's not problematic at all. But I have a feeling that that would be a desirable material for those properties. Though I don't know if it's a reasonable material to make it out of for other reasons. Is more flexible? Is it really? So my understanding of carbon in general was that it was actually very flexible, and that's backed up by just plates and things, but that it's very flexible along the grain, but that perpendicular forces are it's flexible along the grain, but it's nearly incompressible. So with the grain, like, you can't really do anything. Can't really compress it ever. Which is why I think they usually make, like, vehicles and stuff that have carbon fiber monococks. They'll put sheets of the woven stuff over as a bonding agent, and to give some general overall rigidity, but they'll have sheets of it that have all the fibers lined up in one direction, usually from front to back of the car around it, and then they'll put that weave around it to add strength in other directions generally. The other thing I will say about this type of these thick acrylic lube stations is that you can snap these down one at a time. Usually, like, I don't have to put all of the tops on the rest of these to snap one down. Usually on that other type, I want to have the tops all on before I start snapping them in, because if I have like one here and I put the top on it and the rest are sitting out like this and I snap it in, because they flex, these will eventually, some of them start spinning a little bit. It's not a big deal, it's just a way of getting the job accomplished, but that is slightly different. And I don't really think about it consciously anymore. So like normally with that one, I would do this, right? Like boom, 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 boom. And I would be like, oh, snap, 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 to all of these. These are tactiles. These are Zilents. I don't know what the weighting is on them. I don't recall. I'd have to look it up. I don't remember what the Aquas are. What up, Minterly? How you doing? How you doing? Good to see you, by the way. Good to see you. I hear you make Zycos with... No, I did not. But thank you. I am the second person to make Zycos ever, as far as I know. The first person that ever made Zycos was Chewy from X on Deck. L. Thompson, thank you so much for that follow. I appreciate that. Well, I heard you made it a thing in SoCal meetup. That is true. Chewy and I both had Zycos boards at the... Oh, you know what? Did I? Yes. So at NorCal, I got my Rukia, right? Like Jack Static actually brought Rukias to a few of us at the meetup itself. And then at the SoCal meetup, I actually made this board right before it, and I brought it down. And Chewy brought his what did he bring? He brought something, a 60%, maybe a Sirius, I don't remember exactly what it was now, to it might have been a TX60. He brought it to SoCal, or he didn't bring it. I guess I was the only one with Zycos at SoCal. Dang. Well, Chewy brought some to NorCal, but either way, I built this board, and at SoCal, I guess there were more of the personalities, right? More of the streamer personalities, but this board makes them sound amazing. The resonance on Rukia, for whatever reason, just makes... I mean, they sound amazing on their own, but they sound extraordinarily good. Yeah, crazy loud on this board. Like, the mic is super far and not pointed correctly for this, and you can still... It's just stupid. It's stupid. To be honest, I don't know if the bump is like nicer or not than Zelio's. It's definitely harsher. So here's what you can do to Zycos to make the bump a little more appealing, but you do sacrifice some of the sound, because this board also has Zycos in it, kinda. So I used 72 gram Sprit progressive springs, and the bump feels a lot better. Like the spring actually it just helps. It's not as aggressive. I like aggressive bump too, so I like this. I also like heavy switch spring rates, so like 78 gram, because these are just regular Zycos, so 78 gram. So these are like the ones, but these are a little bit lighter, and they're progressive, so they're even a little bit lighter. I did. So here's the thing. I don't ever really recommend Sprit for community-based reasons, i.e. taking advantage of the community in the past. Some people forgive and forget. I will, to an extent. Depends on what the crime was. But I don't. So I don't really recommend Sprit, but a lot of people like his stuff, and he's not really ripping people off. But I bought these springs right when they were brand new, and I didn't know the story. I didn't learn about the story till after, and I kind of vetted and asked around, and turns out it was true. So, or I guess multiple sources confirm. So I don't really support him, and I don't really recommend him. That being said, they make this board really good. So, you know, do what you do. You want to try progressive? Yeah, like jumping off a cliff. No joke. They are like jumping off a cliff. These are not. I don't know. I think these are just nicer with the Sprits. But they don't sound as good. Like, they feel amazingly good. And if you like lighter switches, there's really no, like, Zycos are, not only are they like jumping off a cliff, but they're incredibly heavy. They're 78 gram springs, right? Disco, man, it's so good to see you in here. It's so good to see you in here. Minterly and Disco, like two of the most ridiculously cool streams, just randomly cool. That, like, I didn't watch a ton of Minterly's content up until maybe like 3 months ago, 4 months ago. I don't know. I watched something, and then I was like, man, I really like watching this. And then Disco, like, he's just a cool dude. He's just a cool dude. And he drinks on his stream, and I like that. Mechs on deck, some of my favorite people in all of Keebs right there. Man, get Langalandia in here, and get Jay and Brian, and like, man, all my favorite keyboard people will be in here pretty much. Heard someone say Zycos. Yep, Chewy just, he heard that from afar, and it was like, Zycos Dewey. Two different takes on Zycos. OG, the way Zycos are made, and thank you for pinging that, TSC. And then some 72 gram Sprit progressive springs on there, and it's good. And it's good. Next on deck, what are you doing in here right now? Stream? Don't you stream? Love those guys. Man, you're all I love that all of those guys are in here. Yeah, so what could be said about Zycos and me is that I kind of evangelized them more than Chewy did, because Chewy was like, oh yeah, these are great, and then it kind of silence, and I was like, no, these are great, and then I had this on my desk for a while, and people would be like, oh, what's that? And I'd always bring it up, and I made a chat command for it, so I'd bring it up and it'd just be like, yeah, that. What was your success rate building them? You made one so far. Yeah, so Niv180, thank you so much for that sub. I appreciate that. I really, really do. And anybody who's not subbed or following or whatever, you know, consider going up here and hitting that follow button. Let's keep in touch. Let's have a dialogue over time. Yeah, thank you so much for that. Yeah, so my success rate on the first 10 of them that I made, that's right. It's just weird to see you in here as the Mechs on Deck channel that way, though. Mind, no, so, basically, my success rate building Zycos, like the first 10 of them I made, I think I ruined like 7 or 8 of them. And I was like, this is a non-sustainable thing. And then I figured out what the like exact thing was, and it was done. Right, but I was playing then, and then I pulled out exactly the number that I needed for this. And I made exactly once I got the technique down, I made exactly the number that I needed for this, and I did not ruin a single one. So it is definitely a technique thing, but once you get it down, it's down. It is, however, very easy to mess up, especially if you have certain, like certain production runs of Zelios. In my experience. Okay, so here we are. We got 100 of these Aqua Zilents. Yeah, I'm so glad she did too, man. I really like hearing people's feedback on them. TSC, nice. Tim the Tatman emoticons. I'm so bad at recognizing emoticons, people's things. Probably because I don't even have any of my own. I need to remedy that. I plan on remedying that. All of Imiru's boards, that Rukia is your favorite for sound feel, if it wasn't for that damn layout. I kind of agree with you. So I have that, and I got in on LZ Physics, and I'm like, I don't love Alice layout at all. Like, but I love that board. I love that board, and not just for the switches. I love that board. I just don't love typing on it. Does that make sense? Like, I don't like the layout. If you like the Alice layout, though, that board is amazing. If you don't like it, then it's amazing eye candy, and it sounds really cool. That's how I feel about it. But Shocks, I agree. That sounds the best by far, and feels pretty much the best. Though this board feels amazing too. I still think that the HBCP, the way I have it built right now, feels pretty damn good. It feels, I mean, there's Zelio V2s, so they feel good, but it sounds amazing. Like the sound profile of that board, even with just Zelios in it, sounds great. Yeah, Minterly's got the cool stuff going, for sure. You're bumming in bed. You're commenting to commit yourself to getting back up to get some work done. Hey, I mean, if you need to get up right now and get some work done, then that's what time it is, I guess. Disco, that's a cool emote. Whose is that? Vision Air, Niv180 just gifted a tier 1 sub to Vision Air. That's awesome, man. Thank you so much, and you couldn't have done it to a more deserving community member. That's gonna be loud. Okay, so this is how I normally do this thing. I just like pop. You would never do this with Zycos because you would ruin all of them. Because there's something satisfying about this, like popping bubble wrap. I don't know. It feels good to me. I mean, not if you poke your finger in the wrong spot. That would not feel good. That would feel stabby. And obviously not like poking bubble wrap. On one of these, it's actually much easier. Popping bubble wrap, you say. When are you going to try 90-gram clickies? I don't know. So, box navies are my favorite modern production clicky. But I'm down to try 90-gram clickies. I think the reason I like box navies is actually because they kind of feel like popping bubble wrap a little bit. Boom. Need Sprit click bar though. Dang. Feels bad. I'm like really reluctant to buy from Sprit. If somebody could like show me a real apology from Sprit to the community for ever having taken advantage, then I probably would. I know, DD decline. I know. I just have a hard time. I have a hard time forgetting after I've learned stuff. Whatever. I'm gonna let people make up their own minds about it. Maybe I'll get some Sprit stuff at some point. Again. Through vendors. Yeah, it's probably not a bad idea. Yeah, I haven't even used the Sprit click bars. I'm interested to see what they're like though. Oh, I got somebody mentioned on here recently actually to use a a different type of film. I have a bunch of TX films that I've ordered, but somebody mentioned something different. Give me 1 second and I'll grab them. Do we use the knife at hand? Or do we use the bougie knife? I guess we'll use the bougie knife. It's not that clean right now, though. It's like all dirty. Whatever. It is bougie. Bougie. Yep, bougie. See the bear? See the bear? Any of you guys know that bear? Like, biggest... If I didn't say anything, it would have been the biggest subtle flex in the world. I like high quality things sometimes. Let's try not to dox myself. So these are Kibo. And I haven't played with theirs yet. I'm curious though. Because why not be extra? Extra bougie? I guess I ordered 2? I don't know. I ordered 3. Oh no, I ordered 2 and there was a coupon code applied. Got it. Kibo films. Yeah, so I have yet to play with them though. I'm kind of interested too. I wonder how much thinner they are. Anybody know how much? Are they great for creams? Yeah, because creams are a pain in the ass to film otherwise. But Kibo isn't the 3D printed ones though. Okay. Right? So we can find out how thick they are. Honestly, with something this thick though, I would want a pair of mics, and I don't have a pair of micrometers in here. So that says 0.12. We got thin, regular, and thick now. That weight's so patinaed. Yeah, it's kind of patinaed. But it's nice. I mean, whatever. It doesn't look like crap. I guess let's grab a TX film and see where they're at. What color? Let's grab, not white, purple. We do the science on my stream. That is kind of the goal. Kinda. I say kinda, meaning kinda, not absolute, because keyboards are not always about science. They're about experience and feel. Okay. That says 0.15. So they are in fact thinner. Well, maybe 0.16. Go with 0.16. Okay. All right. Yeah. So they are thinner. I'm down to try them. I'm down to try them on creams. I don't have any creams, unfortunately, on hand, and now is definitely not probably a time to try and buy them because everything sells out in like 4 seconds flat. All right. So we're gonna take this board apart, right? Because we got all of our switches lubed and ready to roll. So you know, let's hop to chop chop. Any suggestions for a relatively low cost e-whiteboard? Hurts. I mean, I bought this TX84 in white for like $500, but that was like over a year ago. Were they in stock for several hours? Okay. Well, when they come back, I'll try and remember to jump in on them. I did see them up, so I thought they just sold out instantly, because the next time I refreshed the page, they were gone. What's your budget? KBD 67 coming out on May 11th. That So I don't know. Can anybody attest to the quality of KBD Fans E-White? Because I don't always love the anodizing on KBD Fans boards. I don't always. Your budget is around 200 to 300. Oof. Yeah. I mean, KBD 67 might do you, and that won't include some stuff you're gonna need, obviously. Penguin Droppings, you gotta go co-host a stream. Oh, are you serious? Send link. Oh, PM me a link. I don't know how long you're gonna go, but once you're done, I'll drop in if I can. At least for a second and say hi. You have one in E-White, but you don't think E-White is an anodization. No, it's not. It's not. Okay, yeah, no, so it's definitely not the same as anodization. I'm extrapolating from there that maybe their finishing process is not always the best. I could very well be wrong. Just, I don't know. I mean, I've done a few KBD 8X Mark IIs, though, and they were pretty good, so I don't know. All boards are not made equal. But if that was a great board, then good. Ugh. Patinaed. So we didn't test this board, but it doesn't matter. We're not going to touch a soldering iron to it until we do. Man, who thought that 10 screws were required to make this thing? Can someone tell me that? I guess LZ did. I'm just like, why did we need 10 screws? Fire Phantom. Got it. Thank you so much for the follow. I really appreciate that. I really, really do. Yeah, I mean it is. I'm up. Guilt trip worked. Sorry. Sorry. Alright. So I haven't plugged this board in at all. I have no clue. It looked good in shipping. But now we're gonna see if it actually is in good shape. I'm sure it probably is. Uh-huh. So I have a little thing that I can hang them on. Yeah, finish is definitely good. Definitely benefits from foam though. Lots of low mid-range reverb / echo without. It's kind of weird, right? Jack Static. Hey man, we were talking about you earlier. Thank you so much for the 9-month streak. And have a good dinner that you're cooking. Love your stuff too, man. Hope everything's good. Okay, so Clutchy says, do you know where I could get hot swappable PCB for the tofu acrylic besides KBD Fans because they're sold out? That's a really hard one. There are other places, including occasionally Canon keys that have carried hot swappable PCBs. You may want to look around. I would honestly take a look around. Okay, well, I mean, the LEDs light up. We know that much. I'll hear from your mom? Okay, well, sorry, buddy. That's what friends are for. It's the 60, I think, Disco. He sent me a link to it earlier, to the case. Budget 96. Okay, so all the colors actually look like they're working. I've seen reds, blues, and greens all go off on all of these now. Yeah, so they are working. Okay, so right now what we're going to do is we're just going to set this face up, right? And we're going to open up a little switch hittery action. Okay. We'll say it's a 104 key, even though it's not. It's something, I just don't know what it is. I can see these two are registering something, but I don't know what. That one also. Okay. Perfect. So that whole row works. Okay. Perfect. Perfect. Okay. I mean, the board works. The board works. The customer did want me to do something about these up here. End, page down, page up, delete. Okay. We'll try and remember that. But, so what we're doing is we're replacing the mods themselves on this board. And in order to get that accomplished, we're going to desolder. We're going to use the desoldering gun of doom, which has a typo in its command that says it's the desoldering gun of Dune. Go ahead, TSC. I know you want to say stuff about the desoldering gun of Dune. Yeah, there you go. That's the one. Yeah, I honestly am against using. I honestly don't like hot swap boards. The end. Everybody kind of knows. Petrov, what up? How you doing? How you doing? All right, so we're gonna pop this out now. Whoosh. Get this out. We're not gonna lube stabs. We're not really doing anything other than just desoldering the alphas. Now, I have to say, the customer did say the mods, and that does leave some interpretation open, which means, customer, if you're in here, please feel free to tell me exactly what you mean by mods. But if we're going strictly here by the mods, we would actually be only talking about like these keys. But I think everybody expects that it's these keys, at least, and probably these two. But that could also mean these. It could mean everything mod colored. I don't know. You're well, thanks, fellas. Assembled a trampoline today for the kids, so you're feeling pretty useful. Nice, man. I think you're useful. I think you're useful in general, man. Man, like all my favorite personalities are showing up today, actually. Great. That's great. Maybe Tuesday should be a more common stream day for me. I'll have to bring that to the next key meetup. All right, so at least we'll get all the alphas done. We'll get all these numbers done. Obviously, all these numbers done. I think we're going to leave all the things that we would typically consider mods. I don't know about the arrows. Like I said, customer, if you're in here, feel free to call it out if you want the arrows done too. But I'm going to say that they're mods. I'm also going to say that that is a mod, because it kind of makes sense. Now, the top row is really the question. F1 through F12 and escape. But I think that counts too. So I think we're just going to desolder all of that. So the entire top row, or no, because you want the mods to stay. So not the top row at all. 2 things on the bottom row only. And then we'll come back to it. All right. Desoldering gun of doom. Nox with socks. You're here. Oh, Nox. How's it going? Change the top row? Yeah, no, we can totally change it. And I agree, it is kind of clicky. It's kind of one of the clickiest parts of the board. All the mods, like the traditional mods though, sound fantastic. IMO. All right, so we haven't fired this up yet. One thing you need to do, everybody, before you go all crazy with one of these desoldering guns, there is a thing that you should always do. Nice. Thank you for lurking. I appreciate it. Like I said, it hasn't been turned on yet, so we're going to totally take it all apart. We're going to clean it real quick. This is actually going to be really quick. It's not hot, and it does need to be hot for part of the cleaning, for cleaning that tube effectively, at least. Looks like I actually pretty much cleaned it out the last time I used it. Or very, very close to that time. Okay. So this is all clean. This tube needs to get cleaned out. Since it looks like it's been cleaned so recently, at least in terms of usage, we're gonna try this part not hot. See if there's weird resistance. And there kind of is. So generally speaking, you want to clean this out hot. I don't know how many of you guys use one of these guns. They're great and a pain compared to regular soldering irons. So we'll turn this part on. Thanks, Disco, for hitting up Clutchy. That's awesome, man. Thank you. Because I totally wanted to hit him back, but right as I was getting ready for the stream, it was not probably a great time to hit him up. If you can solder, you mean DZ60 hot swap with Milmax sockets. Wouldn't recommend. Did it once, probably won't make another hot swap. Yeah, so I also don't even like Milmax sockets, to be frank. I believe honestly that they're not as good as Kale hot swap in terms of their general performance. No, they don't come dislodged super easy, so I guess they have that going for them. Okay. Now we're gonna do the thing with this guy. Now it's obviously heating back up. I prefer top mount. And gasket isn't really strictly a mounting type, so it's a little bit of a misnomer to say gasket mount versus top mount. But generally speaking, I don't dislike gaskets, but most boards, I feel like I would prefer them to just be built in ways that made their sound really good versus using gaskets. There are a couple notable exceptions. For instance, the J01, where the gasket was a mean design feature. It wasn't like an afterthought, and it wasn't a hack to get it to sound a little better. It was the premise of the board. It's why that board was made, to get a good gasket. And I think it succeeded exceedingly well. But I think the vast majority of boards that have that don't. So I'm curious to see what the solder job looks like on this. And it actually looks decent. I don't know who did it. There's 1 or 2 joints that have too much solder on them, or are maybe cold. Like this one's clearly cold. But yeah, I don't know. It looks good, mostly. I do too, Kalani. I do too. That's why I don't ever recommend them. In fact, when customers ask me to build hot swap boards for them, overwhelmingly I say no. unless it's Kale Hot Swap and unless it's Kaiwa hot sockets, I won't do it. Anybody who wants me to make a board for them where I solder the Milmax sockets in, sorry, buddy. Not doing it. Ooh, and it works great. Hopefully that sound is not killing you guys. Oof, that's pretty loud. Here, let me do this. I'm hoping this helps a little bit. It's still pretty loud. Desolder ASMR. Right, Disco? That is the right way to think about it. Thinking of getting an Void Radiant when that goes into GB. Chronoman, I believe it's going to be a good board. I do. It's going to be good. I kind of want in on one too. Do you know when it goes into GB? Exactly, because I don't remember exactly off the top of my head. What's going? It's Viro. What's going on? How you doing? Hopefully really well. Is that the most current one, TSC? That Reddit post? I didn't look, I'm just asking. I'm questioning whether I'm up to date. Pretty sure he's still waiting on the prototype. But yeah, and that's where I thought it was the last time I read anything on it. But so he hasn't announced an actual date at all in the IC. I knew that was the case a while back, but I thought that he had a target in mind. Or a general target. Like cue this or whatever. I want you to know I ship boards out to international customers sometimes, and I just shipped out a board to a customer in Denmark. Whew. Man, I had like the biggest ordeal at the post office today. I went to the post office 3 times. So for domestic shipping, this thing's really easy. If you're a domestic customer, I calculate the shipping based on the USPS click and ship value, and then I just add that as shipping to the invoice that I send a customer for a board build, and then they pay me, and I just handle the shipping through PayPal, which gets all the tracking in there. But like international, it can't work that way because you have to do a customs declaration, you have to go in, whatever. But like, I went up at first and I asked the postal worker, I was like, hey, can you tell me how much it would cost to ship this board to, and I had the address. She's like, I'm not going to do that until you put it on the box. And I was like, I don't know that I rightly know how to write an address for Denmark. Like, because different countries write their addresses differently, right? So that's a thing. Okay, so the whole top row, then everything on this row from here over is not a mod. For sure. By the way, if I were smart about this, I would have removed all of these keycaps in advance, because it's about to be a hassle. But we will survive. We will persevere. We won't just survive. I wonder if my voice... Okay, my voice sounds good. Just good. Doing good. Just looking for parts for a 40% ortho. I mean, I think there are 40% orthos out there, though I do not recall what they are off the top of my head. Oh yeah. Did you contact me on Reddit? Did you contact me on Reddit? I think you did. Maybe? Did we talk? Yes, we did. And I need to get back to you, and that was forever ago, and I feel bad. Sorry. So how unhelpful. Yeah. Are you talking about the postal worker? I mean, I can't hate. The post office is actually kind of a nightmare right now. Like, normally I just go in and drop things at the counter and walk away. Like, I don't even need to talk to people unless I want a receipt, which sometimes I do. But like, I already got a receipt online. So realistically, the only receipts I need from them are like to prove that I dropped the box off at the post office. And I'm not particularly worried that the post office isn't going to actually scan my package that I left on the counter for them or in a drop box potentially. I actually did put a keyboard the other day into a mail slot. Like, the box was the exact right size for the little lift and raised drop box. And I was like, is this gonna get stuck in here? And I was looking at it, and it was one in a wall, not like a standard blue box. And I was looking at how it was constructed, and I lifted it and closed it, and I could see through another mail slot a little bit. And I was like, no, there's just a basket on the other side. And I threw it in there, and it was like, ka-chunk, chunk. And I was like, yes, I didn't have to wait 20 minutes in line. Also, I don't live in a large city, right? So there's a postal, like, I have a post office. It has two counters at it. Like, 2 clerks can be active, and it's usually just one, even if the line gets really long. And there's a woman that works there who is incredibly thorough, but incredibly slow. And it was basically like I don't hate on her because she does her job well. I don't know if you want that one removed or not, so we'll see. Oh no, that sounded clogged. Yeah, so anyway, if she's there, you're generally like, no, this is gonna be a long trip. And you know, today it was like that, and I had to go there 3 times. Granted, the last time was totally my fault that it couldn't get done that time, and that was because I forgot my wallet. That sucked. That sucked. It was totally the suck. Post office is kind of brutal right now compared to how it normally is. Shipping most boards is really straightforward though. Most of my customers are domestic, and it's pretty darn simple. Chronoman, it's been okay, so it's Viro. Doing good. Yeah, looking for those parts. Yeah, you did. No worries. Yeah, man, I'm sorry. Going to get ice cream. Yeah, no problem, man. Just know it wasn't personal. It was being silly busy. And I will say that customers who ping me with like hey, I need help deciding on a board, sometimes get slower treatment because I have to actually stop sometimes and look up boards. Mina Knits, I do use USPS Priority almost exclusively. Not exclusively, but almost exclusively. It's by far the simplest option. That being said, FedEx and UPS are other options that are valid, and I have to admit I am kind of tempted to use them sometimes for domestic, because I could have the drivers come pick up boxes at my house. I mean, I get enough stuff delivered that I could do that with the postal service as well. Gotta figure out the easiest way to do international shipping. Okay, you have to fill out customs paperwork every time. You do. You shipped to Canada the other day and it was a pain in the ass. Yeah, and Canada is actually pretty straightforward. So I've shipped to I think Singapore, Taiwan, Germany, Denmark. Trying to think of others. I know there's at least one other European country, maybe Spain, I think. I'm trying to think. I know there's somewhere that I'm missing, at least one place that I'm missing. But every time I've had to fill out a customs declaration. Every time. I think you just have to fill out a customs declaration no matter what. Pretty sure that's just the deal. I didn't need to desolder that tab, but you know, I did. Pretty sure this might need to be cleaned out a little bit. You got a check in the mail the other day for your brother, meant for your brother. Instead of you just mailing it to him, he wanted you to set up online banking with his account and cash it. I was like, why? Yeah, that's... Okay. I'm not going to say that your brother's shady, because maybe he's not. I don't know your brother. I don't know your situation. But if anyone other than really trusted family said to do that thing, and probably even then, I would definitely make sure, one, that you were talking to the right person, like it wasn't some kind of phishing scam somewhere, and then two, you know, that it was on the up and up. So nothing against your brother, right? Like, because I don't know what I don't know. Yeah, it does. It does. But that's what I'm saying. It just seems like, no, I'm not going to do banking on your behalf. Especially not when, like, unless you're, like, in the hospital and there's some extenuating circumstance, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. That seems sketch. Just off the top, but not knowing what I don't know about the situation, I can't really make that determination. No, not sketch, just ignorant of how USPS works. Product of never using paper mail. I don't hate on that. I think until I rented a house for the first time, I had probably only written ever in my entire life like 8 checks. And then the landlord wanted to get paid in checks instead of like digitally somehow. Granted, this was like a decade ago, so you know, whatever. But I was like, you don't take some kind of digital form of payment or whatever? And he was like, nah, just, you know, like a check, just mail it. And I was like, oh, it's such a pain in the ass. Like, you're making my life way harder than it needs to be. Yeah, Kalani, exactly. Like, if you pay with a check, it's gonna be slow. It just is. Checks are slow. Checks are slow. I have to go to the bank. I have to deposit it. Like, I have to process. Right? Like, this takes time. Yeah, I won't allow customers to use checks. The end. The end. No checks aquí. In fact, I pretty much won't allow customers to not pay through PayPal. Oh, that is a major bummer. I'm pretty sure I just lost that filter forever. Okay, well, I didn't need that filter anyway. Okay? Okay? And this solder is on here really, really well. Oh, not sure it will come off. Yeah, but that's the thing, right? It's 2 days. Like PayPal, if it doesn't say pending on the PayPal transaction, then that money is in the bank. Not like no one can reverse it and there's not risk with PayPal. But like, if it does say pending, however, because I have had that happen before, I'm like, no, you get to wait until this clears. But assuming you have a verified PayPal account attached to your bank or whatever, like it just happens. Yeah, and people do complain about things that are like 2 days. What temp settings do I prefer for my my desolder gun? Hot. So if you have a Hakko FR301, I set it on 2.5, and 2 is 750 F, and 3 is 840, so probably right around 795 F, somewhere around there. I'm gonna guess, if it's linear, which it looks like it is. No, I totally understood that, meaning it's. I'm not, like I said, I can't call your brother shady, call him out as shady, because there's so many other possibilities. However, most people, if they hit me up and were like, hey, can you do some online banking in my behalf? I'd be like, no. No, I cannot. Because I am not, in fact, you. But I understand. I do. And there are a million, like, people's situations that are totally different. That's why I was like, I don't want to call him out as that, because it probably is an innocent thing if it's close family and you trust them. Then again, I have a sibling that is super shady. So, you know, there's that. Like, if they asked me to do something like that, it would unequivocally be no. So, maybe that's just my own personal shit being projected. All for like $30. Yeah, that's rough. Like, I don't know, man. For $30, I might just be like, I guess, like, you can have it. Here's something that that is actually shady, but like people would probably just do, even though it is actually shady. Would be like, you know what? You just endorse that check as me, and you have that. You have that. I'll let you. Because your sibling probably isn't trying to entrap you in a check fraud scheme. But yeah, that is actually shady though, for real. Okay. So I'm going to go with we're ready to roll again. Sorry that those kind of take a little while. They just do. Oh yeah. It makes the little whooshy sucking sound as air passes through the hole now. Which is how you know that this thing is tuned up really well. When you hear like a sound on the solder, like it's rolling. You would kill him. Yeah, I understand. I don't know. I like $30 is an awfully low bar for there to be significant hassle over. I definitely would just have you mail it to me too. That'd be the easiest. Chronoman 27. Thank you so much. Oh no, that was Jax. Jax. Thank you for gifting 10 tier 1 subs, man. You are the man. Thank you so much. Chronoman 27. Yikios. Tunvan. Wago 3. Mr. Petrov. Epsilon Keyboards. Alexitos Live. Dr. Huru. Dead BC77. And PM Sing Chicken. You guys just got free tier 1 subs from Jack Static. Please go and thank him. Oh no, ashy elbows. I live in the desert, man. That's like a thing that happens here as well. So I understand, man. Gotta use that lotion. And I didn't say anything about him. And I always say nice things about you because you're a nice guy. Subs aside, Jax is actually a nice guy. Also, thanks for the subs. I do appreciate them. Of course. I really, really do. 205 grade 0 will clear that up. Yeah. You just, just moisturize with that stuff. But man, Nit's right. Isn't he a nice dude? I'm happy that you guys are all getting some subs. Thank you so much, Jax. And definitely thank him, guys. Because he is the man. Okay. Man, those alerts are still coming in, man. Still coming in. You believe them. Binge and Krillbit say don't. Oh yeah. I would not. I would not do. Do not do. Do not put PTFE on you. But more importantly, don't put it in you. I will say that I have Seberta. Thank you so much for the follow. Yeah, anybody, by the way, who's not already following or subbed, go consider going up here, hitting that follow button. Let's stay in touch. Come see some more content. If I get more viewers and stuff on Tuesdays, like more people watching, then maybe I'll move my Wednesday stream to Tuesday. Because Wednesday's pretty overloaded. I'm gonna say that. I've been contemplating the day that it needs to move to. Sunday's good for me. Anyway, Jax, thank you for that next tier 1 sub gift to Clutchy. What a nice gift. Thanks, man. You feel like you've been lied to. Wait, you're not supposed to put... No, you are not supposed to put that on toast. So I have accidentally gotten some of the dry lube powder. Not like a significant amount of it in my lungs, but just lubing, dry lubing in here with no air moving. After the stream, I could tell that, like, it, I don't know. I don't want to say that. It felt like I had a little bit of a dry cough afterward. Like, completely non-productive cough, you know? Like, it wasn't removing anything. So, and it kind of lasted for a few hours, and then it went away. So, I would say you always use that stuff in a well-ventilated area. Iguwu, thank you so much for that follow. Really appreciate that. Yeah, I would definitely avoid putting PTFE lubes inside of you. Bad news. I'm the one you built the Boardwalk keyboard for. Wanted to test out ortho/silent switches, but ortho wasn't for you. New owner loves it though. Great build quality and silent alpaca, stupid smooth. Hey man, I did not realize that, Kalani. Thanks man. Thanks for dropping in and saying stuff about it, and I hope that they do love it. Sorry it wasn't for you. That board was really quiet, like dead quiet. Like when we did the typing sounds, I was just like, this is like almost not worth doing typing sound video because it's so silent. What do I think about GMK Redacted? Mostly I don't so far, but go ahead and post the link to the interest check if you feel like it, and I will give you my thoughts on it looking at the IC. So I have looked at it before, but I don't recall. I know that's the one that's black on white kind of, right? That has the redacted sections. Right? So feel free to drop it. I remember looking at it and being like, this isn't that interesting to me. Not doing it. That being said, that doesn't mean that my mind won't change if I look deeper at the IC. Start pulling these out. Geekhack link up. I will go to it, and I will even pull up Opera so we can look at it together. Okay, GMK Redacted. Blah blah blah. Cool. You can hover over them. I like the interest check, or at least that part of it. Great. Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like that at all. That is my flash reaction to it now. Do not like. Then again, I also don't really like black on white anywhere close to as much as I like white on black. Yeah, that's it. I'm not saying that I think it's bad. I think it's good. I'm not all about it. It's not a for me kind of thing. Okay, so let's pull these keycaps off so we can get started. We know this whole top row is going. Probably get some of the switches with them. Maybe not though. Are these GMK or EPBT? They are EPBT. So I have an EPBT set. and of like 9009. I lent it to a friend, and I really like it. And I like it just as much now as I did then. Okay, so I'm going to pull the caps off all the ones I know need to go. I think we did all of the numbers, right? Sure, I missed a couple. Thoughts on Japanese/Korean sub legends? Don't like them at all. Hangul. I shouldn't even say that I don't like them at all. I don't like hiragana or hangul or sub legends like that, or Arabic or any of them. Generally speaking, when they're in the same color. Now, when it comes to triple shot or enamel infill or whatever, I might like them. I might. Kind of depends. Like the JTK triple shots, I feel bad. I should have gotten in on them. I would have really liked those. Like, I think they're going to run them again at some point, and if they do, I'm going to jump in on them. Or if I see a set, I'll jump in on them. Like on Mech Market. No, I followed the link. Oh, so now, but here's the exception to that. Iguru, here's the exception to that. What I do like is, I like it when they offer a base kit that just has Latins, but then a second alpha set where it's not sub-legend, but it is actually just the foreign legend, primary legend. This is kind of cool, I guess. I mean, I don't dislike this. That's fine. Gradient set, kind of. Not gradient, but you know what I mean. You would buy a Hangul set if they did something other than that ugly standard font. Yeah, sure. I kind of understand. Even better is if it's in a profile, you just have alpha kits and mod kits instead of base kits. I mean, so DD Decline, I would agree with you, except that it ends up working out to so expensive for the full set. And let's be real here, I'm definitely buying the whole set. When I get in on a set, I almost always get the whole set. Now, I won't probably get another alpha set with sub legends, because I don't really like those in the first place. But if the set comes with the base kit with the sub legends and then a Latins one, I won't get in on it. A good example of that is what's going on, or what was maybe on Switch Mod. What was it that was on Switch Mod? Frost Switch? Totally would have got into it if it wasn't set up like that. Yep, that's how I feel about it. I love the colors. I totally want it, but I'm not gonna pay for that extra kit just to get the regular Latins, and then I'm stuck with a bunch of alphas that I will never use and don't like. I also don't really like when things are kitted out like Signature Plastic style, where everything is a kit. And the reason I say that is just because of price. I would actually prefer that if the price stayed the same. But it's like, I always want the numpad because I use 1800 stuff. So like, I never want to buy kits where the base kit doesn't include a numpad. I realize a bunch of our community, who are the voting community, don't really care for numpad because they don't really use them. But the reality is that the vast majority of keyboard users use their numpad, or have a numpad at least, because they are used to full size and they want full size boards because it's just what they're used to. So yeah, so don't get rid of it. Okay, customer time. You there? I hope you're there. This is what we're leaving, right? Do you want these replaced? Do you want that replaced? Do you want these replaced? It's your call. But everything that's exposed is what's coming off, right? Everything else stays? Everything with keycaps? God, they sound good. These maybe don't sound the best. Yeah, I'm gonna feel those. Yes, they are kind of clicky. So is definitely from here, here, and here. Numpad is, or numlock is a little bit not less, but is not. None of those are. Okay, so arrow keys, and then these guys are gone too. Okay. Okay, I'm pulling those off too. Yeah, no problem. I want to make sure you're getting exactly what you want. That's how we play it here. I want the customer to walk away happy in the end. And I will do my best for all of my customers to make sure that they get the things that they need and want on the timelines that they need or want them on. Cannot always guarantee that, but I try. I think I'd do this one too, honestly. Yeah, you want to do this one too? I think numlock should go too. Yeah. Okay, cool. Sweet, guys. All right, so we know what we want. I actually have some more stuff I need to desolder, I think. I think I need to do... yeah, all 4 of these. Kalani arrows way different. Yeah. Yeah, the arrows were they were pretty loud. They weren't as loud as the top row, but they were noticeable. The stabs on this actually feel good. I haven't even lifted a keycap on a stabilized switch. Like, did you do the stabs yourself, Nox? Because they aren't rattly at all. This one's a little wobblier, but I think they're maybe newer style GMK. Maybe not. They might be older. Are they Band-Aid modded? That's a good question. I haven't even looked. I don't believe they are, though. I do not believe... no, they aren't. They aren't Band-Aid modded. Phantasmal Cat. Love that name. That's a great name. That is a great name. Alright. I'm gonna hit these. Hey, Zombie 115s. Thank you so much for that follow. Import Shark 80, I didn't see your follow, and I'm sorry, but thank you so much. And apparently, maybe I did see this, but Kalani, if I didn't already, thank you thank you so much for that sub. I really appreciated that. That was awesome, man. Opinions on Band-Aid mods. You heard some people say it's bunk. Yeah, I used to recommend them before I thought of them the way I do now. Now I do not recommend them at all. That's my take on it, right? I don't know if it needs to go more in depth too much because, frankly, well, yeah, that just kind of is what it is. So we are going to remove this because I don't want to get my switch remover in there and scratch up the top part of the case. So I would recommend that if any of you guys get these, I would do that. No, so I didn't recommend it before better stabs came out. There are decent stabs, and there were decent stabs. Pre-retooled GMK stabs were fine. There were Zeal stabs. But here's the thing about Band-Aids. I do actually still think they have their place in the world. It's just not on every board. There are some boards that add this like resonance, that have this sound quality where you can actually hear the impact. There's some stuff to say, hey, that, and I think, was it Mr. Keebs that did it? Where it was like, they don't even make contact with the PCB. And the truth is they do sometimes. In some cases, on some boards. And on some rows, more importantly. But it doesn't matter, right? I think there is a place for them. If you're trying to make the dead quietest board you can, I still actually think they're worth it. But unless you're trying to do something so out there like that, where you're just like, I want literally the quietest board. I'm using all silent switches. We're using foam. We're pulling out every stop to make this board not make any sound if we can get it. Okay, sure. Then I can see it. But I do think that there's a slight possibility of them having an issue at some point. That's a real thing. Right? They could come off. So really, it's not even that it's a well-made board. It's just some boards with their design. Maybe somebody can figure out what it is exactly that causes that. But I have done them on boards where I'm like, no, this actually does sound better. And yeah, I'm just reluctant to say that it's a unilateral thing, right? That there's just one answer there. Yeah, so Nina Nitz, I kind of agree. I like sound a lot, but even if I wanted a quiet board, I would never do a completely dead silent board for me. I have done one, and I actually didn't like that much. So what we're going to do, by the way, while we're doing this, is we're actually going to replace some of these. Because I want to just maintain the anchored status of the board. Like, we're not going to solder them in yet. But I don't want to have to deal with the plate halfway separating and stuff. So as we go, we'll replace some of them. Make my life a little easier. I agree, I don't like fully silent boards. But maybe you do. Maybe you have a reason for it. Maybe you do voiceover work, or audio production, or video production, where you have an open microphone for voiceover or whatever capture, and you want a silent board for that reason. I could see wanting that thing. It would just be purpose driven. It wouldn't just be on the rando, I want all silent all the time. I know there are some people in the chat that do some of that type of work. And maybe they could chime in. Come on. Like, yeah, Ooh. So some of these are filmed. So maybe the mods are filmed, actually. This mod is filmed, and it's definitely lubed, too. And I thought they were lubed. They're all lubed. These tangies. So one of these is filmed, for sure. Yeah, okay. So does that mean that you wanted the tilde to stay? Because we did pull that out. Okay, we'll put the tilde back. You think alpacas are stock? Like in stock? Oh, the alphas are stock. I'm not sure about that. I don't think that's... They feel smooth, but tangies do feel smooth in general. Yeah, I think you're actually right. But we'll look. There's some lube in there, but I think that's oil that comes on tangies, right? I can show you, in fact. I can show you exactly, because we have the technology here. We have this technology. You see that lube there on the legs? And on the center stem? You can see there's a little bit of lube there too. Thank you, Kalani. Appreciate that. No. If you're lubing some other switch with grease. So first of all, let's cover that all of these lubes are PTFE based. The oils, the greases. If you're using 3203, 3204, VPF 1514, any of the Crytoxes, so Crytox 105, 106, 205 grade 0, whatever, all of them are going to have, it's a homogeneous mixture is what it actually is, right? Because there's PTFE in there, inside of a grease. But the grease, it's all mixed up super well, and so they're gonna actually play nice, all of them. It may slightly thin out your grease, but not enough probably for you to notice or care. I would not clean them. Also, you can't really clean any of the Crytoxes off. Not truthfully. Not with any of the tech that we're using now. There are solvents that are designed specifically to clean those up. They're really expensive. They're way more expensive than just buying new switches in most cases. In every case, in fact. Literally every case. They're stupid expensive. So, Man, that's starting to get annoying. Check Discord. Will do. Yeah. Do what you gotta do. Oh. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I don't clean switches much. It's pretty uncommon that I'm willing to clean switches. I have had customers be like, I have vintage blacks. I really want them cleaned. And I'm like, okay, that makes some sense. Huh. Okay. Like, we have a board coming up where I'm not 100% sure if we're using the provided vintage blacks or if we're doing something completely different. What lube was used here? It's a light lube job, but it's good. It's working. I think you must have used like dielectric grease or something to do such a light job and then have it still be. Okay, we're gonna start snapping some anchor replacements in. You lube some switches. You got secondhand that already had 205. What did you lube them with though? So usually if you lube with a thicker thing, you'll be fine. But if you lube with a lighter thing, you're only going to be thinning out the thicker thing. Stop there. So you wanted it thinner. Wow, you had tactiles that had 205 grade 0 on them. I feel like maybe that person didn't do the thing that was didn't make the best choice for how they handled the switches that you bought. I mean, whatever. I actually think that it is possible for what it's worth. I have not tried, so it's conjecture. To lubricate tactiles with 205 grade 0. I do. And for it to be good. Like, I really do. It doesn't seem to be a thing that anyone wants. Maybe I'll have to do some science on it at some point. Maybe I'll have to do some blind, like, here's some switches I lubed. Test all of them out. 5 different kinds of switches. Tell me what you think about each one. And not tell people which one is that one. See what people have to say. I use 205 grade 0. I use 205 grade 0 for the springs in every switch that I lube, unless otherwise denoted. Including these ones. And people like my lube jobs. But the spring does not affect the mechanical action of the switch though either, in terms of, I shouldn't say it that way. That sounds dumb the way I said that. The spring doesn't affect the feeling imparted by the tactile bump directly. It's a function of its weight. So if nothing is impeding its ability, the spring itself's ability to move, then it has no fundamental net effect versus versus an unlubed switch or an unlubed spring. Nope, don't pull that one out anyway. Guess if I were smart, I wouldn't have pulled this enter key off twice. Maybe we didn't desolder that. Sorry about that, guys. Come on. Okay, you say. Lana likes thick. How you doing? Okay. Avoid putting it on sliders and leaf. Yeah, I don't put sliders or leaf. I don't put lube on those. If it's 205 grade 0, typically, well, ever so far, onto tactiles. But the spring, yes. When people lube Zelios with 205 grade 0, are they basically making them closer to linears? So anytime you lube, here's my thoughts on that, no KB, because I do have thoughts. Anytime you lube, what's the way to, okay. Anytime you lube a switch, you're affecting its mechanical action. You're also smoothing out the action and reducing the bump a little bit. So part of the bump effect that your finger feels is part of what your finger feels is the friction as you're pressing it down, right? Now, you generally want that, whatever that friction is, to stay kinetic. You want the plunger to keep moving and you want to feel consistent kinetic coefficient of, or the coefficient of kinetic friction dragging on the switch when you move it, right? You don't want it to start and stop and then feel the difference between kinetic and static friction, right? Because typically speaking, one is greater than the other, almost always static, although there are in switches some cases where that's not true. Spare Cash, thanks for the follow. I appreciate that a lot, I really do. What up, Langlandia? How you doing, man? How you doing? What's going on there, though, is basically when you add lube, right? You're reducing the coefficient of static and kinetic friction because the lube is what's actually in contact with the two parts, and it has a very low coefficient of friction. So what you end up with is something that actuates and feels more consistent throughout. If you do any kind of lube to any kind of switch, you're going to have that exact action. Now, if you use a grease type lube, right, you're going to be affecting enough of that and adding some friction force due to viscosity such that it's going to feel more damped and sluggish. That's the experience feel, or the experience there, right? So yes, you're kind of making it feel more like a linear, but that's not a great explanation, right? It's not like the end all be all. In theory, if you lubed light enough with one of those kinds of lubes, you would affect the exact same change. Assuming the coefficient of friction stayed the same. I know we're getting all sciencey here. We're digging deep. So let's take it back out away from deep, right? If you want to use 205 grade 0 on your switches, whether they be tactile or linear, I think that you can do the thing you want. You can get the same result with any of the kinds of lube. It just comes down to how heavily you're lubing them. And in general, it's difficult with very viscous things like 205 grade 0. To get that job done on tactiles. Is it impossible? No. Would I recommend against it? Yes, especially if you're new. The end. Yeah, you can say for sure they're still very tactile with 205. And I believe that. Absolutely. I really, really do. But, you know, you might be more experienced with it, and you may have gone light, started light, and kind of worked your way up, which is the right way to do it anyway. And I applaud you for making great switches. Now, a lot of what I do for customers is based on their preference. So if a customer is like, I want to use this lube, I may try and sway them away from it if I think it's a bad idea, but if that's what they want to do, that's what we're going to do. Because, I mean, they're paying for it, right? It's their thing. If your switches don't squelch, they're under lubed. You mean like where you can hear it squish lube around every time you do that? That would be not good. That would be not good. IMO. Having flashbacks to AP physics. Sorry, Mina Nits. I'll stop unless you liked physics. I like physics. Obviously. Because I'm nerding out about it over here. Yep, that well-lubed stem well. Yeah, no joke, huh? Okay. So yeah, we got everything done, and we replaced some of these as we went, so we don't have a plate that's going to be a problem for us. So what I haven't done is modified anything on boot mapper on this board, which is a thing that customer does want. I don't know if I'll do that on stream or not. Maybe I will. If I think about it and I have time, I will. Otherwise, I'll do it after sometime. But boot mapper kind of sucks, especially if you're one of the few people who's been in here recently who I was showing, yes, you can via many of the things now. I feel like I opened your eyes, guys. Some of you. Like, I'm so happy. It makes me so proud. Because that's actually how it felt for me when I was like, wait, all of these things are supported by VIA? My DZ60s are supported by VIA? HBCP? VIA. VIA's amazing. Oh, did I get the 7V? I did not. 75% just really isn't my jam. Do I hate it? No. I had one on this desk for a really long time when I started. I don't dislike it. I just don't really like it either. I will be jumping in on SAT 75 though. You still have 1.5 hours to get one. Well, if that's the case, no KB, drop that link. Let everybody know. Maybe somebody wants to go buy one right now. And they've never seen it before. Teja built one today. Good for him. I should go back and watch that pod. See what he thought of it. What did he think of it? Anybody got the Cliff Notes? Sucker for that encoder. Yeah, I'm definitely going to be getting SAT 75 when it comes out. It's not that just that I'm a sucker for it. I remember the board and being like, wow, I'm dumb. I should have gotten in on it. Teja approves. Teja approved. He should have like a little USDA Prime sticker looking thing that just says Teja approves that he puts on boards that he builds. Or maybe one of us should do that thing. One of us other streamers. Next idea? Yeah, I see you in 001. Chalk up. Nice to see you back, TSC. Hopefully all is well. Tail also did a fundraiser on stream today. Actually, it's the same one we're working on. Oh, okay. Jeez. Well, that might put us to shame if we don't raise at least that much between all of us. Dang, Visionaire. Dang. Nah, Nathan is a freaking animal, and I like Nathan's stream. I like his content. Nathan's a great guy. I don't know, have you guys... I mean, some of you have to have met Nathan before at, like, meetups or whatever. Nathan's actually a really cool dude. And he is really killing it. He's definitely embracing a segment of other content creators and the community that other people are not, though. He really is. I don't know. I really like Nathan, though. He's actually just a really nice guy. But frankly, most of the streamer community is actually friendly. I haven't really met anybody who I'm like, that guy's an asshole. There are people, obviously, whose content I watch more than others. And I mean, I don't know what to say. Like, some things just speak to me personally more than others, but I haven't met anybody that I think is rude or mean or bad. There's varying levels of seriousness, I think. Like, some people do this thing consistently, repeatedly. Some people do a little bit here and there. Some people do a variety of other things, and they just happen to do some keyboard streams, which I think is cool and interesting. The only thing you hate about Nathan is how many desks. Yeah, I'm not personally a big fan. I don't hate that about him, but I'm not a multi-desk pad user. I will occasionally throw one on top of this desk pad just to show it off, but then I take it off because, one, I don't mostly want really artistic desk mats here, because I'm soldering here and they get flux shit all over them. It's gross. I don't want that. I don't want that. Okay, so my burgers, that's bad form, kind of. I don't know who My Burgers is or what they stream, if they even stream this kind of content. I don't actually generally mind people posting links in here, but it's kind of bad form to come in and post a link to your stream in someone else's stream while they're streaming. I highly recommend no one in here follow that from here. But you do what you want. Unless, of course, I ask. That's a little bit different of a story, right? Yeah, that's my 2 cents. That's my 2 cents. Well, looking through Epic Games and closed. Yeah, I mean, whatever. You do you. Yeah. I'll let my mod step in if it's inappropriate, because that's what I got a mod for, and she's great at it. All right, so I'm gonna flip this bad boy over. We're gonna solder all this back together. I'm gonna clean this because we shouldn't need more desoldering action tonight. Hopefully, with any luck. Okay, clean it. Even with your desoldering iron, Tin the tips, boys and girls. Tin the tips. Right? You want to tin the tip. Always. They're more expensive than a tiny little bit of solder. Alrighty. So... Oh, I didn't fire up our iron. Let's see how long it takes to get to temperature. Always get those direct tip irons, boys and girls. And we're at soldering temp. I believe you get more technical with things when building cubes, and I appreciate that. And you have cooler tools. Thanks, man. I don't get the cool tools just to have cool tools. I get the tools that I think are the right tools. Or that I think I like more for whatever reason. And I usually want to be able to tell you why I like the tool. More than like a cheaper option. If I've got it on my desk and I'm using it, right? Like, even if the reason for it is preference, I want to be able to tell you that's why. I guess I try to do my homework, and I try to research tools that are going to be the right tools for me to use. Because when I buy stuff, I don't mind spending money on the tool that's the right one for the job. I really dislike it when people are like, yeah, I got this tool just because it's the one that people recommended. And like, no one seems to know why that's the one. It's like, yeah, but why is that tool being recommended? Like, what's so good about it? So, that being said, Disco Crocodile asked earlier, I don't know if he's still in here, asked earlier what temperature I use with my desoldering gun. And I think it works out to about 795. I use setting 2.5 on the desoldering iron. Now, on the soldering iron, I roll 740. That's high. That's on the high end. If you're new, don't use that setting. If you've never soldered before, don't start there. That's really high and leaves you a lot less margin for error in terms of how long you're on the pad. It's going to be way easier to delaminate a pad doing it at that temperature. Only do that if you have some experience, probably. Now, that being said, I can back up why I do that. I do it because that's the pace I'm comfortable soldering at. No pun intended, if you're familiar with my iron. Why am I holding my iron way back here? Like a noob. Right? It all is about the heat loading that you're adding to your board. You don't want to overheat the pads and delaminate them. Most people, I recommend, start at about 680, somewhere between 640 and 680. I would start at 680 personally. This is all assuming that you have an iron that's like decent at soldering. I don't know if that makes sense. If you have a decent tool for this job, not like your $15 from Ace Hardware soldering iron or whatever. Like, that's not the one we want to use. What kind of mat am I using? You're talking about this blue one, right? Not the desk mat? Because the desk mat I don't have a link to, but I can tell you exactly what it is. And why I've got it. Why I got this one. And actually, I have a different desk mat coming for my main desk. Your solder iron cost $8? Okay. Yes. Excuse me? Cost $8? The Engineer SS for desoldering? Oh, you're talking about the Chinese effectively kind of a clone of the Hako, right? So I haven't actually used that one, but I can tell you what other people have said and explain to you why I believe that thing to be true, and I can tell you why I chose to get this one. So, DD Decline, what I have heard said is if you are gonna desolder maybe like 80 boards in your entire life with that other one, you might get that out of it. Now, this information comes from Huey, who had one, but it almost doesn't matter, right? The bar to entry in the desoldering pump world is actually really high. In fact, the Hako FR300 and FR301 are incredibly inexpensive for that type of a tool at $275. Because most people doing that thing are doing it with like a JBC or even Hako's other offerings, which are much, much more expensive. So I bought one from a reputable brand with a good reputation amongst others that I know is going to last, right? And if not, it has at least a warranty and the parts are very available. Whereas the Chinese one, that's not true. The parts aren't available. So that's why I chose the one that I chose. But how much of an improvement is it? My limited experience seeing other people use it is that the volume is higher. The volume per time is higher. Therefore, the pressure is higher on this than on those other ones. So very likely what's going on there is it just has a more robust motor. And I don't know, it seemed like a better way to go for those reasons. But I gotta be honest, I'm real tempted to get a JBC. I just don't want to spend that kind of money. They still require a fair lot of maintenance in the daily. There are some features about this that are better in terms of the ease of maintaining, and it's still a massive pain compared to a soldering iron. So I am not a giant fan of desoldering when I don't have to, as a result. Yeah. If I had it to do over again, I probably would have saved my ducats and bought a JBC to start for the desoldering pump. If I knew I was going to be doing this thing. And that's a big if. But if I were a regular single-time user, like if I only wanted to desolder one board, I would not get this tool. I would use solder wick and or one of those way less expensive hand pumps and take the extra time. But I don't want to do that in my current role. At all. Yeah. So the other thing about this type of iron, and all, as far as I know, desoldering irons or pumps, is that they are non-direct heat element irons. So their performance is always going to be less good than a soldering iron at heating up the solder and making it flow. Unless they're just way overpowered and you have the temperature set way too high. Which some people do. Okay, so we did all that. That all worked. Let's solder in the arrows, I guess, just so they're not having issues. Okay, so the arrows are all done. This other bottom row shenanigans out of the way. So all of the bottom row is anchored. So yeah, you said, excuse me, your soldering iron costs $8. So I recently had a thing that I had to do for work, like within the last early this year, very early this year, in fact, like at the very beginning of the year, right after New Year's. So I came back to work or whatever, and I had to help some people do something, and they traveled from. They were a contractor to our organization, and basically they came out and they had to build something. The thing had to meet some like crazy standards for what it's going to be used for, and then so they were using like NASA soldering techniques. I don't know if you're familiar. It's almost irrelevant. NASA has like their own standards that they've published for how soldering should be done, for how all sorts of electronic stuff should be done. I don't know why the NASA standard, but whatever, it's, people do. So they were, they had, and it's funny, they had the iron holder for a Pace ADS 200, right? The exact same one I've got. Yakbats, thanks so much for that follow. I appreciate that. They had exactly this stand, right? And I was like, oh shit, that's for a Pace ADS 200. Great. And then they pulled out a $15 Weller that they bought at a hardware store. Or maybe it was $8. I don't know. I was like, oof. And they were like, yeah, we use a Pace ADS 200 actually at our main office. They were traveling from another state. And they were like, but, you know, we needed to construct this thing here. And so we did it here. Funny story. They started using it to get done what they needed to get done, and it just wasn't powerful enough, and it didn't work well enough. And we moved. We found another place in our giant organization somewhere that had a soldering iron. And we went over there and we hooked it up and we used it. And it worked perfectly. And they had a Weller, so it wasn't a hot shit iron that they had. It was actually a pretty nice Weller, but it wasn't like JBC stuff. It wasn't Pace stuff even. Although Weller makes some decent stuff. But I mean, we found a place that I didn't even know existed that had like central fume extraction, like had all this shit set up that was awesome. And we went there, and they like, even though nothing they were soldering had a had microcontroller in it, like it was literally just a cable or a bundle of cables. We had to like don a lab coat to walk into their like electrostatic free area. Like it was wild. I was like, okay, alrighty then. Didn't even know this place existed, but we're doing this now. And it was funny because I actually soldered some stuff together for him. Because like, oh, it turns out I have some skills. Some. So it was good. Good evening, Brainstorm. How you doing? Yakbats, how you doing? Good to see you guys in here. The build is going pretty great, actually. So this was a rebuild, and we're not too far from done. If I want to hurry through this and get all of these, let me do one more row, and then somebody ping me on Discord. May be very important. So I'll do that, and then I'll be right back. Look at Discord. Come on. Come on. Flow the joint. Alrighty. Halfway done with that row. Maybe more, actually. It looks like most of these are... So I will say, like, having a decent iron that can deliver the right amount of heat to get things to temperature is pretty convenient for going quickly. Because the trick otherwise, right, is you over temp it, and then you're carrying more heat load in the tip, and then it transfers over, even though the heating element can't keep up with the demand. But in this case, works just fine. Works just fine. All right. Your board from KP Republic just got delayed until estimated the end of the month. Pretty bummed. Dude, I'm so sorry to hear that, man. I really am. Really. Did you get the stand with the instant setback tool for your ADS 200? No, KB, I did not. And I will explain to you why in just one moment. Just want to... Okay. Ooh, somebody hit me up with a great question in Discord about what are the best stabs right now. Okay, anyway. That's not a relevant question. So, I didn't get the instant setback, and I'll tell you why. So, the instant setback, there's reviews out there of the instant setback, and says that it's kind of... that there's kind of no reason to do it. It's kind of expensive for what it offers you, especially when the iron itself will go into sleep mode. So this iron has the most ridiculously sensitive or simple looking interface. I'll tell you what. Here's what. So check it out, right? I'm gonna, hopefully this doesn't swing too much. That's the Pace ADS 200 right there in the middle. If you look, it has like 3 buttons on it. One's hiding behind the cable, and then an up and a down, and a power switch. So the deal is there's actually a huge menu selection. You need the manual to decipher it, but you can set all sorts of things, like its auto shutdown timer and all sorts of stuff. But you don't really need to worry about the auto setback. Like, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying it isn't worth the money. Somebody who had it was like, this is not worth the money, in a review, and it was a review that was super in depth, and I agree with everything he was saying, so I never looked into buying the auto setback before I bought the iron or after. I would not get that feature. Also, it's I think it doesn't work that well. So it's easy to put this in the well and not set it down all the way. And I've heard that the auto, it's really easy to set this down, and it's actually not deep enough to trigger the auto setback, but it's still totally safe in the well. So I just wouldn't do it. If you really cared, you could make your own. Like, you could figure out what the wiring is, and because the normal stand comes with the blockout plate for it, you could make your own switch and put it in there. Yeah, I wouldn't get it. Zeal stabs. Okay. Ooh, this is about stabs. We're talking about Zeal versus Durox. I like it. We did a comparison on my channel actually not that long ago about just that thing. I don't remember what video it was in, but we did literally pull them both out and look at them under microvision. And there's not really that much of a discernible difference. The thread inserts in Durox have less teeth, so you can, under microscope, tell which is which if you have something to compare them to. However, there's no discernible difference. I would not be surprised if the exact tolerances were exactly the same and they came from the same factory. I would not. Not even a little bit. I have not heard anybody complaining about the stabs popping free, but honestly I didn't hear about that for a really long time with Zeals either. So I'm not, and I haven't experienced it very much. I've seen it once. I've had it happen one time to me, and that was on Rukia. And I've had a customer had it happen on a 60% board that they sent me to fix, just to fix that stab, which by the way hurts, hurts my soul, because I do charge a minimum service fee, like if I'm gonna do a build of some sort for you, and it's not to be a jerk, it's just like, if I gotta set up, even if I'm not streaming, if I gotta set up here and do some work on your board, like, I really would like you know, some compensation, although it's not a lot. You're probably paying, almost certainly, if you're shipping a whole board, paying more in shipping fees to get it to me and get it back. But anyway, feels bad, right? So what I did is I desoldered 2 switches. I used the spudger tool to pull the stab into alignment and snap it back into place. It was the spacebar, and it was a spacebar that had its wire on the top facing side, so they just couldn't get to it. I was convinced that you could get to it, and I think I probably could have with a plastic spudger tool that was thin, if I took enough time to do it. And I tried to explain that to the customer how to do it even before I took their board to fix, and they just weren't comfortable with it, so they shipped it, which is fair. Which is totally fair. Okay, I think that's all soldered in. Yeah, so Durox stabs are much cheaper, and they're great. They're freaking fantastic, guys. If you've never used Durox stabs, I highly recommend you go get some. I don't know where you all get yours from. I usually get mine from KP Republic, but there are some other places that from time to time carry them, or maybe even always. Does Prime carry them all the time? I know they have carried them before. I just can't remember if it's like an all the time thing or if it's like a they've done it. Maybe somebody else here knows. All of our LEDs still work, though I'm not going to wait for it to cycle through every color, because that would be a little outrageous. So we'll do that. No win menu or those. Oh, okay, the lights are on. Okay, now let's go back in here and make sure that we're actually hitting them all. And that's exactly what we expected to see. Perfect. You got yours from Prime. They go in and out of stock. That's kind of what I thought. Liquid Sky Design. That's what my experience was. Nox, I appreciate it, but we're still gonna put it all back together, and we're gonna make sure that it works exactly right. And get the caps back on it and do a little sound test so that everybody knows what's up, including you. Oh, no problem. Seriously. So what we're not going to do, I try and remember not to do this. It's not that this is bad. Mostly everything that's on here is flux, but every now and then there's little tiny lead particles here. Now, granted, lead, much softer than your board. Much softer. The thing is it may not be softer than your anodizing. 99.9999% of the time, it should be. But if your anodizing was done very poorly, or there's something weird with the metallurgy of your board, which should be aluminum, which is considerably harder than lead, I don't want to take the risk of scratching anything. I think the real risk there is actually if you have an acrylic or especially a polycarb board, which is really easy to, really extraordinarily easy to scratch. Aluminum, I don't think there's actually any risk, but you know, we just take our time, get it right. Not too much time though. Oh, I was like, the port should go there though, like for real. Okay, cool. I do hate that this uses Phillips, like many of the Korean customs have or do. Like, can I get a hex? Can I get a hex or a Torx or a something? Come on, guys. How much does this board cost? What do you think this board was new? I'm gonna go with from the factory in the original GB. $450. $520 shipped with an LZ bag or TX bag, whatever. That would be my guess. Well, a bunch of things are bad with Phillips screwdriver heads. So the way that Phillips is tapered lends itself to slipping teeth, especially for smaller Phillips. Phillips is actually really fine for very low torque applications or applications where you're only ever going to install or uninstall something one time. But that's not really how this works here. Sorry, I did that a lot, and that makes really shitty sounds on decent microphones. Sorry. No one's de-esser goes up high enough to stop sibilance in that case. No, so basically, Phillips is really prone to slipping teeth and ruining both the driver, but more importantly, the screw. And so it's just not suitable to certain applications, especially things that are very small or decently small screws where you're going to be repeatedly putting them in and taking them back out, right? So this really should be, in my opinion, hex or Torx, or there's actually a number of other neutrally angled drivers, square, whatever, doesn't matter. Anything that fully engages to depth and requires the correct size driver to actually do. The stream sneck struck. Sneck. Yeah, sneck. Okay, so I think we're good. We didn't replace any of the switches that would actually typically be associated with an off angle. So, and they do look okay right now. So that's really pipe and here. And they look fine. They looked fine before, they look fine now. Okay. So let's get some keycaps on here, right? Let's get some caps on here. Let's get this off because nobody needs that. And to cheat, what I do sometimes on stream, because when the board's like a super empty canvas, it's actually really hard to tell sometimes where you should actually, like, what the starting point is. So to cheat, sometimes I leave switch hitter up in the background and selected with the board plugged in so that I can kind of do this dealing revolver. Is it, I want to say here? Haha, it was. 6 is going to be here. Yep. Oh, no. Good thing I checked. I was off one. Yep. Sweet. Every now and then I just drag it down onto here so like nobody else can tell. Yeah. Okay. So, I think this is a beautiful board. I actually really like, I like compact 1800 a lot. I don't know how I feel about 96 key that much. I do kind of know. I don't love 96 key. That being said, it works on this. Like, it works extraordinarily well, in fact. Like, this is a good looking board, in my opinion. What about you guys? Can you actually tell the difference between Duroc and Zeal stabs? Can I tell the difference in use, or can I tell the difference visually by inspection? Like, that's a really good question. If you know specifically which way you mean. No. So on feel, the answer is actually just no. I can't. I cannot discern. But maybe I'm a fucking noob who doesn't have well-tuned fingers. Potentially. Allegedly. No, so I don't think that's the case. But what I do think is the case is that, no, people can't realistically tell. Did we have print screen before? We did. Ooh. I think. Ooh. So that doesn't mute. That's weird. Okay. So I don't know where home went. Did home go here? Home went here. Not gonna lie, I'm an Everglide Duroc kid all day long on stabs. Langolandia, I agree with you, man. I agree. I like Zeal though too. I do, actually. I think there's effectively no difference personally. And I'm totally willing for you to challenge me on that. If you think there is, speak your piece, man. Speak your piece. Because I think they're basically the same. Weird. Volume down and up. Okay. Plus pink. Pink. And purple. Pink and purple. Now we just need black and yellow. also, smoky. There's a smoky in here somewhere too. Ooh, smoked. Oh, there's no doubt about that. The equals threes, not as good. Yeah, anyway. You don't dislike Zeal, but can't look at a bargain in the face and say no. I don't hate on that, man. I actually agree with you. I recommend exclusively Duroc stabs to people right now. So we're like 100% on the same page. But subject to change, right? I mean, so here's the deal. All of this could just go awry at any moment. And, ooh, to top it, all of this could actually not just go awry, but could become skewed by somebody who has ill intent. I'm not saying I think that's the case in the world. Like, we have a bunch of people doing that. But what I am saying is that if I wanted to start some shit that, I don't know, Duroc does something bad. I don't know, man. I don't even know what I would start. But like, if I could come up with something that was convincing, where I just tried to bullshit the science a little bit, like, you could probably get away with it. And so I have a hard time saying that we should just listen blindly to what the talking heads in the community are saying, right? Try it yourself. I don't know. I mean, if you're just going to buy one keyboard, like, and you just want to build that one keyboard, right? That's all you want. Then build that one keyboard and follow somebody's recommendation if you trust them. But if you're in the hobby because you're a hobbyist, what's the risk? What's the risk here, right? What did you pay, like $18 for some Durocs? You're gonna pay like $12 for some. You're gonna pay like $12 for some equals, like, or C3 stabs, whatever. Like, I mean, what's the? There's like no risk here. I don't even know where I put those because I don't use them in any builds. And I gave a set to some. I don't even know where they are anymore. I think I moved them to a different drawer. But I tried them, right? And then I found out that I don't like them that much. That I don't think they're that good. And I wasn't out a lot of money for it. Like, it really wasn't that big of a deal. Like, try them all. Live by the mantra of, is the juice worth the squeeze? Love that. That's great, man. That's fucking fantastic. Is the juice worth the squeeze? But you gotta ask yourself, is the juice worth the squeeze? I don't. I think that Durocs are at least as good as Zeals and functionally look exactly the same. Like, they feel the same. They look nearly the same. I need to look at them very close to be able to tell the difference between them. And I was trying to tell the difference between them. 9 times out of 10, if we went to a meetup right now, which don't do that because, you know, the Rona. But if we went to a meetup right now and we were like, hey, are these Zeal or are they Duroc? You would get a nearly 50-50 split because no one knows. Or you would get a biased split toward whatever that crowd was biased toward, but you wouldn't get an accurate number. Like, definitely you'd be far away from 100% correct. If you just let them feel it. And if you let them look at it, you'd probably have like a few people, if they knew that it was going to happen beforehand, and then examine them, one of each known previously. You mean like this? Okay, boys and girls. Is it school time? Is it Microvision University time? Oof. Langlandia, you're gonna laugh at that comment, I know. Because it's funny based on what we were talking about before. I'm not gonna take too long doing this, right? But I'm gonna show you guys what's up. Okay. Microvision, here we go. I need to take care of something real quick. There we go. Get that out. Okay. So here's the deal. See those teeth in there? The engagement of those teeth. This is how I'm able to tell the difference. Look at those teeth. And then look at these teeth. These are Zeal, the clear ones. It's hard to tell from this angle, but you can. Obviously. It's a lot harder to tell though. From this angle, with magnified vision, look at the sharpness specifically of the teeth themselves. Jesus, come on. Get in there. Okay. Okay, so that's how you can tell. I don't know if you guys can see it or not. I'm not gonna go in more in depth, but that's how I can tell. Slightly rounder and more of them versus sharper, fewer with deeper notches. Yeah, I mean, it looks like, honestly, I would trust the Durox to have a better hold on them. That being said, I have received a Durox stab where the QC wasn't perfect and there was no insert. Now, I receive an inordinately large number of Durox stabs compared to the vast majority of you guys. So, there is that. It's not like they ship extras, so I had to replace that customer's one with a Zeal stab insert, because that's the only other clear one I had. Okay, so here we are. We're going to throw this back together. Now, before we do that, trying to see where the reset button is on this bad boy. Oh no, camera is about to have a very hard time focusing. So I think on this body, it has a hard time regaining focus sometimes. So if I manually take it in to close, and then I turn autofocus back on, it's fine. I don't know what that's all about. I think it's an A6000 oddity. So if I had to guess, there was some solder right there. So that might be where our reset is. I don't know. I'm going to have to look it up. We're going to throw this thing back together. And then I'm going to have to figure out where reset is on this. No, that's an LED spot. Actually, I do not see a place where there's a reset at all on this PCB. That's weird. Oh, no. Weird. Okay. Anyway, I'm going to screw this thing back together. That's a thing I'm going to have to figure out somewhere else. And then we'll do our thing. Somebody ping my channel? Ooh, okay. Alright, we're going to throw this together. We're going to do a typing test really quick. And then I'm out of here, because this is not a normal stream night for me. And, you know, I got places to be. Though I love hanging out with you guys. All 44 of you, it appears. Thank you guys for coming. You are very well appreciated. Alright, that. Boom. Better. Kareem Ricci, thank you so much for that follow. Anybody who isn't already a follower, or a sub, or whatever, who isn't getting alerts, consider going up here and clicking that follow button, turning those alerts on. We can hang out sometimes. We'll keep in touch. I'll make sure that you know when I'm streaming. Also, you can go onto my other socials, like Instagram or, uh, you know, Twitter, wherever you want. YouTube's the best, really, if you want to be able to see that content on your time. And you can sub or follow or whatever there, and then we'll definitely be in touch. Hit the bell, right? All right, so we do our standard torquing maneuver where I back the threads off. Back the threads off till it clicks, turn till it's snug, back off a quarter turn or so. Right? I put them in. Boom, boom. I don't tighten them down. I'm not tightening in this case. Right? Just snug. And then back off just a little bit. And we do that for a really specific reason, guys. So the reason that we do that is because boards like this have a tendency, especially when you have this acrylic spacer in here, to get a little off-centered. Because there's a little bit of play. There's a little bit of play in the bottom case where the screw can fit, and there's no centering dowels or what's the right way to say that? No centering cutouts. So they can kind of shift around. And I'll show you exactly what I mean in just one sec. Because we backed all these off about a quarter turn, we're going to be loose enough so that the two sides can kind of move around a little bit. A lot of newer boards are coming with a way of indexing the top to the bottom. That's what I meant, indexing. Right? So if you look at this, here, maybe you can see it. Yeah, you guys look at that. Look at that. You'll see what I'm saying. You'll see what I'm saying. You can probably even hear it. If I do this. Tell you what, I'll do that right now. But you can hear this. Okay, cool. So if there was really tight indexing pins that were there, you wouldn't get that, right? But that's not what we want, right? We want this thing to be aligned. So the best way to do that is kind of by feel, actually, generally speaking, with this. So you just kind of pinch the corners a little bit until it feels like the two sides are pretty smooth, right, with each other. Now, it's going to be hard with this acrylic spacer to be 100% certain, right? But then you can go up here and you can do exactly the same thing. Yeah, I agree with you, Lana Likestick. But this is I don't want to call it a really old board, but what were these, like 2017 maybe? So, you know, not perfect, right? And then we're going to take this and we're going to tighten down. We're going to snug down one corner, then the opposing corner, then the opposing corner, then the opposing corner, and we're going to walk our way in an opposing fashion. Now this is how you torque down all sorts of things, right? This is how you torque down lug nuts on your car, fan spindles, clutches, whatever. Anything that's gonna move around a little bit or has a lot of torque for the materials they're in, you want to do that. So now we know that it's pretty close. If you're really good, you'll go over them and you'll make sure that they all still feel snug. Now, there's a lot of screws here, a lot more than are necessary. But so this is ridiculous amounts of overkill. But there you go, right? So we're done. Boom, boom, plug it in. Yep, and then we've got, man, we had a lot of flux going down today. A lot of flux. I don't want to make that sound for you, but when I do this overhead, you're gonna notice. You're gonna notice. See all this flux residue over here? Whatever. So yeah, if you look at the underglow, it's going. Everything's going. Everything's good. Would love for me to compare the alpaca and H1 stem under microscope. I have an alpaca. Do I have an H1? Those are Zelios. I don't think I have any H1s that I can think of. You know what? I bet I do have one somewhere. But if you send me to, I'll definitely do it. Ping me on Discord, and I'll make that happen. I'll make that a reality. Okay. Yeah. Definitely. I'm definitely down to examine them. Okay, so I'm gonna do something for you guys that I'm gonna try and make a habit, right? I'm gonna make the sound better in here. Okay. So I've reduced the amount of sound that's going on in this room by as much as I reasonably can. There's one other thing I guess I could do. So none there. Now I'm gonna change my voice gate and compressor settings. We're not EQing, so I'm gonna reduce all of that and let you guys hear this raw sound. And then I'm gonna sign off because that's the end. Oh wow, my noise gate has been off the whole time. You guys have actually been hearing everything that's going on, and my compressor has been off. So literally you've just been hearing raw sound. I feel like a noob for not turning that back on after doing a typing test the last time. Because my voice sounds like shit, probably. Anyway, so here we go. I'm gonna okay. The mods are tangerines, C3 tangerines, and they were not done by me. The Zilents are, well, they're Zilents. They're Aqua Zilents. Wow, are they noticeable though? Okay, so great. So you guys kind of know what they're like now. I think we're going to go back over to the overhead view because I think you get slightly better visual representation with it. I'm going to move it over just a little bit so it's centered for me. And boom. Okay, so we'll see how we do here. Oh my God. Bad. Man, I really failed it right there at the end. I just like could have had like a solid 10 more words easily. And I just like totally whiffed it right there at the end. So yeah, I think it's I think it's good. I think it's good. Uh-oh. Key Bobo, thank you so much for for that Prime sub. Hey, man. Welcome to the channel. Thank you so much, man. So I don't know. It's not bad. I'm not a big fan of silent switches personally, but I kind of understand where you'd go with this. Because this board sounded super clicky up here. It was just like silly amounts of clack, like just tick, 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 too high pitched. So replacing these actually, I think, was the great option here. But where all the mods are, they actually sound great. So yeah. Which cameras do I use? They look ultra HD. Do they really? I feel like this one looks good just because of the lens. This overhead looks good because of the lens and the camera body, which are both fantastic. So this camera up here is an A6000, and I'm rolling a Tamron 28-75 f2.8. This camera ahead of me, where you can see my face, is an A5100. I'm rolling the kit lens, though I'm really looking at getting the Sigma 16 or replacing this camera altogether with something better, like a full frame, like actually probably an A7 III or waiting till the A7 IV comes out. I don't know. I'm not sold on what I'm going to do with this one yet. But this one up here is this is the A7 R2, and I'm rolling the Sony 55 f1.8 Zeiss lens, and it seems pretty good to me. I'm really liking it. Anyway, thank you guys for all of your time. No joke, this has been a great stream. You guys have been awesome for following here, for hanging out with me. I really, really do appreciate it. I really, really do. So let's see who's streaming and who we can give a raid over to. So I'm seeing Mechs on Deck, of course. That's obviously who we're going to give the raid to. So thank you guys so much. Firelight70, thanks for that follow. So anybody who's not already a sub or a follower, please go up into this corner, click the follow. More importantly, even, thank you, Kuro Cannon. Thank you so much for that follow. More importantly, though, head on over to my other socials. Sub on YouTube. That's number one. That's absolutely the easiest. Go on to Twitter if you want to stay in touch, see the go live notifications. Go on to Instagram if you want to see whatever Keeb stuff I post. Thanks, Knox with Socks, for the follow, and thanks for the opportunity to build your awesome board. And I hope you love it. All right, guys. Thanks for all the subs. Thanks for the follows. You guys are awesome. And we'll be back tomorrow. And what are we building tomorrow? I'll share that with you. That's a thing we can't not say, right? We got to tell you what we're doing tomorrow if we're doing it tomorrow. Okay. So, what is tomorrow's date? It's the 6th, right? Yeah, it looks like we're going to be doing a Monster Gear XO-V2 again, which I loved. This one I think is an A stock. Actually, I'm not sure. This might be a B stock too, the one we're doing. Either way, that's what we're doing. That's going to be a pretty relaxed build. That's a hot swap board, but we're going to lube up those stabs and do it all right. So if you're new and soldering is scary or whatever, and we didn't cover enough of that science here for you to be comfortable, go watch that and we'll show you how you build a board like that. Something that's a little more accessible for noobs. And honestly, I really loved the one that I played with before, the one that I built before, because I thought it was a great board. So catch us tomorrow. Not the same time though. It's going to be at 6:30 p.m. Pacific time, not 5:30 like we started today. Thank you guys so much, and you guys have a great rest of your night. do those follows on all those socials if you want to. If not, hope to see you back. All right. Later, guys.
I am me, you are you.